back to another episode of The Cage First Sings. I am your host, Sharica Shay, and we got King Ollie on the other line. Say what's up, Ollie.
What up to the people? How y'all doing?
Yes, and you guys see on the screen we have a guest. Welcome, King Marcelles. Say what's up to the people, Marcelles.
Y'all doing?
Yes. So let's get into it. All right, love. So, Marcelles, I do want to thank you for being here. The Cage Sings podcast is basically a podcast. We inspire change and community. And so the podcast is about incarcerated chats, meditation, simply because I'm a meditation teacher, as well as everything
Okay.
in between. And so we're just here to inspire change. And I thank you for being on the show today. I know Ali thanks you for being here because you are a guest of Ali's.
Ah, yeah, thank y'all for having me though. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
definitely appreciate Marcellus for coming on the show. It's personal to me, to be honest, right? Because
Mhm.
this young man, I was, obviously I was locked up with this young man. He's a very profound man, you know. His story, y'all gonna hear today, just him speaking, y'all gonna hear how profound this young man is. So, I'm proud, and to say this young
Thank you.
man has thoroughly uh, continued to impress me, obviously, but he's out there doing things, that, me and him talked about on the yard, sitting
Mhm.
and having those conversations, and he's actually applying those things, man. So I definitely appreciate this young man for coming on, man, to give y'all, a glimpse of what it looks like, man, a positive change. So
Yeah.
thank you, Travis. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank y'all for having me again.
So let's get into it. So, Marcellus, can you take us back to the beginning? What was life like for you before prison?
Um, so I guess it was a multitude of things for me. I was an athlete, um, but I was an at-risk youth, the majority of my young life. Um, my mother was murdered when I was like a year old, a little yes, less than a year old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got a lot of siblings, so the responsibility for my dad to kind of keep all of us together was almost impossible.
Yeah.
So grew up with just being displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like they say, man, sometimes you wander off and into the streets, you find solace in those you find share the same examples of life as you
Right.
know, and that's where, my choice to join a gang began is right there on the streets of Richmond.
Right down the streets of Richmond. Okay. And so now, like, how would you describe the person you were when you went in versus the person you are today?
Oh yeah, well, the person that I am today is accountable. I'm sober. Um, when I was younger, I was an alcoholic, man, habitually, and that's crazy to say like at 17, 16, I was an alcoholic, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was to suppress just the mental warfare that I put on myself in
Mm-hmm.
perpetuating, violence against people who look like me, my
Mm-hmm.
neighbors, and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, all for the sake of a criminal street gang. So the person I am today, I've removed myself from people, places, and things that even resemble those things.
Yeah.
Because I know they lead back to prison.
Yeah.
So who I am today is I'm accountable, I'm sober. So that's what keeps me grounded is just I got control over my mind,
Yes. And that's
and
so
not my
important.
addiction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very important. I need y'all to take heed to that. That's very important. Those that are listening and watching, please take heed to that. Okay. And then, so, like, what was the hardest part of being incarcerated? So I know it's not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
All right. So for me, going to prison was, I mean, like I said, just based off my choices being made is, joining the gang. Like prison wasn't too far fetched to believe that I was gonna be there one day. But you just don't think that day gonna come.
Yeah.
So when it did, I was 17 years old. I was finna have my first kid, you
Hmm.
know. So my life was just starting, and at the same time, it never even had a chance to grow legs to become, because I didn't get a chance to be a father. My sons whole life due to
Right.
incarceration. But I feel like he's what kept me grounded is because it was something that I knew I had a responsibility to come back to.
Yeah.
So I use prison as something to sharpen my mind to be the best available parent, not one that was going to give him, my core beliefs, which
Yeah.
led me to prison.
Yes.
So I kind of just used prison as a detox.
Yeah.
It just flushed my system of all of the
Decisions
things
that
attractive, you know,
Mhm.
just the
Mhm.
late nights, using drugs, drinking, and just those things that keep you away from the truth.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I use prison for that reason as a detox to make sure I'm available and I'm approachable for those that is finding themselves down the path that I went. And I wanted to make sure that raising a black boy, I didn't want to give him what was given to me. So
Right.
I took the trip so he don't have to.
Yes. Ooh, that was powerful right then and there. He said, I took the trip so he don't have to. How long were you incarcerated for, Marcellus?
So I was incarcerated for about 13 and a half years. Yeah.
13 and a half years. Okay.
I want to touch on what you said. You went to prison, so he won't have to. Can you kind of elaborate and break that down to the people that may not understand what you meant by that?
He said, so when you had said that you
I
took the
said,
trip because he didn't have to, he would like for you to elaborate a little bit more for those that may not understand it.
Oh yeah. So, you know, um, I didn't shy away from my responsibilities in prison. I seen all of the things that was out there on the street. Like prison is just a confined place of the streets. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was no different. Like I seen exactly what I got taken away from. Like my environment wasn't too much different in the prison yard.
Mm.
So when I got there, I had to make sure that my kids and people who look like me and people who don't, like Ali, he can contest to the fact that I was a Mac rep, and it wasn't just for the blacks. I went
Right.
around because at the time I had a life sentence, so I felt it was my responsibility to all lifers to get a fair shake at not getting written up for something small,
Yeah.
because something small for us at that time can mean a 5 year denial, 3 year denial. You know what I mean? So me taking that trip is I did it honestly. I didn't enjoy prison. I
Hmm.
suffered in prison. I didn't go to prison and think like, all right, well, I'm gonna just forget about life and I'm gonna just, how some people really they get let me say institutionalized. I didn't get institutionalized.
Hmm.
I learned the errors of my ways and I went to the classes. I facilitated the classes because I wanted to come back home with something to feed my village.
Yes.
So I went out, right? And I learned and I came back with fruit to
Yes.
feed my family. Like, look,
Yes.
y'all don't need to go over there, bro. It ain't nothing over there. I just came from over there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop you here before you put on your boots and decide to walk the same mile I just got done walking.
Yeah.
It's a blank trip.
It don't have to be that way.
It don't
Yes.
have to be that way.
That's powerful. Oh yeah. You're very wise. You're very wise.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I had to take that. I had to take that trip open, and honestly, I couldn't go up in there and do the same thing. Like when I was in there, I seen dudes like living like prison was a place to be. I'm like,
Man.
"Yeah, I can never get that comfortable,
No
you know.
way. Yeah. Not this lifestyle. I deserve so
Nah,
much more. Yeah.
exactly.
Not
You
this
know what I mean?
lifestyle.
Like, I
Yeah.
can't do that.
Why it take him so long to call back?
Oh, no, that's prison for you, man.
Anything can happen.
For real, anything can happen.
You told me that. You told me that. We be talking about that
Mhm.
like on the podcast, like when people be like when couples be mad, like you ain't call when you say you gonna call or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. You like anything can
Yeah,
happen in here, man.
anything can
Anything.
happen. You know,
Crazy.
anything can happen.
Mhm.
I use those anything's can happen out here to let people know, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, do you know, like, you out here complaining about things you have to do? I'm like, but do you know some people get really hurt over 15 minutes? Because at one point in time, we had to use the wall phone. Now they got tablets.
Yeah.
So when people going, let's say, imagine somebody having a triggering day because they're at it with their spouse or whoever the case may be, and this person want to continue a very volatile conversation or confrontation, you know, and you only got 15 minutes to do it. And now you got somebody who comes after you who probably got their own set of problems.
Yeah.
And now they want to use the phone too. And now you like, let me get 5 more minutes, bro. Let me
Yeah.
some people, some people lose their life over than 15 minutes over that phone.
That's crazy.
So I'm glad that they gave everybody tablets, man, to remove that right there, man. There was so many people, having bad days in jail and using the phone as an outlet, but somebody else got next.
Yeah.
So now that's just a confrontation waiting to happen.
Right. Wow.
Anything can happen.
I spoke to you the first time, he was like, gang banging is like trauma bond. Because that right there was just like, to me, like, hell yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
it's
So
exactly what
I
it is.
get
Yeah. I mean,
you.
and that's where you get the blind loyalty at. Like we all
Ooh.
have this blind loyalty to this, like, makeshift loyalty. And like we don't even know each other. Just because you say you from my neighborhood, air quotes, don't mean that you're for me.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a lot of people who commit a crime and then they co-defendants tell on them and all that, is
Yeah.
because you never really vetted this person to see if this person was just a decent human being to begin with.
Right.
You just assume he was for you because why? He's from the same area as you. That don't mean he
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Right.
You know.
That's why you in there by yourself. Ain't nobody
That's
coming to
why
see you. Ain't nobody putting no money on your books. None of that.
Mhm. Yeah, and all of the things that come with that. You know what I mean? Just getting jumping
Yeah.
people. Like
Yeah.
when you survive those things, you have this you trauma bond. You have
Yeah.
this experience with another person where your life was altered or it could have been ended and you
Hmm.
survived. So now you have just this trauma that you can share with another person, and that's powerful. So it's hard to break that when some people are so deep in their criminality,
Yeah.
they just feel like that person is telling them the truth. And that's where you see a lot of, rejection of the parents once we become 14, 15, especially if you come from a single parent household.
Hmm.
You feel you kind of outgrow your parents' authority over you.
Yeah. What they talking about?
Right, like, bro, like, do you know I'm over here beating people up? Like, I feel like I could take you on, mom or dad. I feel like I can take you, bro. Like, and in real life,
That ain't
you
funny.
can't.
But yeah.
Right, but it's like in real life you can't, bro. But being a parent, it's hard to want to discipline your kids in such a way that you just don't even think you would ever have to stoop so low.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I love you, but I will hurt you. I don't want to hurt you,
Right, bro. Like, I
but
don't want to, but you coming
yeah.
at me like a grown man on the street.
Yeah.
Like, so I remember those days where you feel you bucked the system because somebody else told you from your neighborhood that they give you they give you a mask as a
Mhm.
gang member. They give you a
Mhm.
mask called an alias,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
what people do to that mask, I say, imagine you have a blank mask that somebody else puts on you.
Yeah.
And the influences around you is what marks that mask. And that
Mm.
mask that you wear, right? You
Mhm.
can see from the mirror everything society is telling you you are. So
Mm.
now you are a reflection of those things to those people, and you have to stay that way around those people. And that's the reason why when you get around certain people, they're like, "Oh man, dude, crazy." He
Yeah.
has to keep up that
That's the side.
persona. He has
Mhm.
to keep that up,
Mhm.
and he's going to continuously keep that up as long as he's around those people because
Mhm.
they expect that of him.
Right.
So and that's the way it is, and that's why people get caught in that because there's somebody with that mask on. And so many people don't want to leave that gang or don't want to leave whatever negative experience they have in their life because they are actually somebody.
Right.
I went to jail when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And I seen a lot of dudes who I thought was drug abusers, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Then I go to jail. Them same dudes is the same people telling everybody on the yard what they should and shouldn't do, and is
Mm,
responsible for getting your life either spared, taken, altered, beat up, and all that. It's like, how is this man who out there on the street living vagrantly, using and abusing drugs, can come into a prison and be the shot caller?
mm. Wow.
So you can't make it in society because you go back to being basically a victim or looked at as less than. But
Mm-hmm.
in prison, you can get all the tattoos. You can you can be somebody in there. So, that's what it is. They're gonna want to keep being.
That you was down for 13 years. In that 13 years that you was down for, did you have any doubt or reservation in regards to you getting back to society?
Um, yeah, most definitely. There was always that fear, you know what I mean? Especially running into guys like Bird. I know you remember Bird. Bird was from my neighborhood as well. He was from Richmond and he was down since he was 16 and he was down for 40 some years. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a reality in jail, man. You see how a life can be spent. So of
Mm,
course, it's always kind of fearful when you see somebody who you learn and you get to know, aside from the crime they may or may have not committed to lead them there, you get to know the person, not the criminal. So to see a good person like Bird, who I learned to be a good person, aside from whatever it was his offense was, you know what I mean? Not speaking to that. I'm just speaking to the man that I got to know. It is disheartening to know that a person like that you grow respect for may never go home. And that same can be applied for me at that time because I had a life sentence, you know what I mean? So it was sometimes where I had doubt, but the more I believed in my higher power, right, which is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I stopped doing things my way and I gave it to God. And from there my life became 1,000 times easier.
I love that. All right. I love that. Hey, I'm super excited to share this collaboration with you all. My brokerage and I have partnered with Ethos, a technology company offering access to life insurance products through insurance carriers that can be purchased online. The 100% online application takes just minutes. Many policies are issued same day and no medical exams are required. Just a few health questions. Also, with all eligible Ethos policies, we offer free will and trust at $898 value at no extra cost. If you live in these states and would like to work with me, please click the link in the description box below. For all other states not listed, please use the second link. Take care.
Man, being in the joint, sometimes there's things that come along, you know, don't necessarily allow you to be able to get at times to your Lord and Savior. Was there times and there's struggle with, being on the yard and trying to change your life? How hard was that for you to be able to, focus on God?
Yeah, so look, I'm gonna give y'all a real personal story that happened to me, man. And this is why, it's always been affirmed to me that if I listen to him, I'll be all right. You know, I say, I did a lot to get my conviction overturned to where I was able to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would say maybe my last few weeks of being in prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had, you just randomly talk to people and people kind of divulge why they there and things like that. Well, a lot of my family members have been victims of gun violence, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So I ran into the person who murdered one of my cousins
Wow.
while in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was probably the hardest time I had in jail.
Yeah.
Look,
I would say so.
Yeah.
But understanding, right, was it's nothing that I can do to the person that's gonna bring back my loved one,
Mm-hmm.
But as a man, and this is where I tell you, like, the duality of who you are as a human being is always there, right? Because in one aspect, here I was, a grown man, but I still had a side of myself which was being a gang member. So
Mm-hmm.
I still had that side of me that
Yes.
wanted to be who was running my thinking at that time. Every fiber in my being wanted to be the person I was going into prison
Mm-hmm.
in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I also had to realize that anytime you destined for greatness, the devil always gonna show up.
Yes.
He always gonna
Facts.
show up. And that's how
Facts.
I knew God was real. Because he
Yeah.
said, before I let you go out into the wilderness, before
Uh-huh.
I let you go out there, out these confined walls where I know you, air quotes, is safe, before I let one of my children go out there to the wilderness, I'm going to give you my voice and I'm going to give you my grace. And he gave me that. He affirmed my belief in him. Because when I seen this dude, like I said, man, I cried. Like,
Still touching.
it is, because it's like, you have all these scenarios in your head, right? Like, man, if I ever catch this dude, like, I'ma
Yeah.
just destroy this person, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like being confronted with something like that was like, what am I gonna choose?
Yeah.
Am I gonna choose to avenge my cousin in a
Mm-hmm.
way where I throw away two lives? Because I throw away my life and I don't honor his life by living one of incarceration.
That's right.
So it was not that I was a coward, because trust me,
Yeah.
it took courage for me to not throw my
That was
life
nothing
away.
but
Yeah,
courage. That was
but
nothing
it
but
was
heart.
but it was hard though,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to walk past this dude every day. I talked to this dude, but I also talked to my auntie.
Yeah.
It was hard. It's still hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
But that also showed you your strength. Not
almost
only
definitely.
God's hand, but your strength with God's hand.
Yeah, because
Like,
I mean, if I didn't know his voice,
yeah.
I would have crashed out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just knew better, man, and I also knew, who my cousin was, and I knew that throwing my life away wasn't gonna be what he wanted. It's always like that, man. Temptation gonna always show itself. And
Yes.
that's the one thing that I want everybody to just know, is that temptation is a real thing, and it's gonna show itself in the most vulnerable of times. You know what I mean? Because at that point in time, I had just got my life sentence overturned.
Mm.
So my earliest possible parole date prior to then was 2032.
Mm-hmm.
So here it was like me choosing either going home, right, and living a life that I deserve because I put in the work to even open the doors. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or do I throw all that away to, air quotes, avenge somebody who wouldn't even want revenge in that way?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was still hard, man. I had to have some real heart to heart conversations with my auntie, and she was the same way. She, like, no matter how much that would, shock some people that happened, that y'all then got into some type of altercation in there, that's not gonna bring my son back,
Mm-hmm.
and that's only gonna keep my nephew in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had to have them talks, because the conversations I was having with myself, they was not cool. I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to talk to somebody to talk me off this ledge, man, because
Yeah.
I was close, man, and luckily I had a celly who, what was surprising, and I'm gonna be honest about this, like, my celly was kind of, I would say not all the way in his recovery, and I feel like that's probably what I needed because
Mm-hmm.
my celly was, for a lack of better term, a J-cat. You know what I mean? He was kind of just out there living like prison was the street. But because he wasn't in recovery, and he told me that, bro, if you go out there, you'll be the stupidest dude I know.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from somebody who makes bad decisions on a daily, as I
Yeah.
seen him do,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, nah. That was probably what talked me off the ledge the most.
God had your back. God had your
For
back all
sure.
the way around.
For sure.
When we first met, me and you, what did you how did you place it? Because you made a good point when you said I want you to kind of
Right.
elaborate on that to the people.
All right. So, basically like what I talked about earlier was trauma bonding, basically. You know what I'm saying? Is that I seen the kid in you as I was in jail. You know what I'm saying? I realized that for whatever reason, your age, that you were older than I was, right? But for whatever reason, I can still see the youth that was inside the man. You know what I'm saying? And I I was able to identify that because I was incarcerated since I was a kid as well. So like you can kind of see it like, damn, like I can tell this person has kind of been in here like I have and had to learn like I had to in here to be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So in many ways, I still seen that, we still showed signs of our youth, but our age didn't show what it was our youth was in prison for. Like I recognize the youth that went to prison as I did. That's what it was. I can see that you was somebody who went to jail as a young man, and I felt like I can learn from that because you had done so much time at that moment that you were at the climax of like your time, and I feel like at that time I had so much to learn from somebody who I felt or feared I had to embark upon the same amount of years. Because, like you said, at that time, you've been down a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, have I ever feared, you know, being in prison for a long time? Yeah, but that's why I surrounded myself with people like you who was already in recovery, people who was already having to do what I was going to do because y'all was already at the end of it.
Thank you, sir.
So, if you could talk to your younger self before it all happened, what
Uh-huh.
would you say?
Yeah, so what I would tell my younger self, man, is to just stay the course. You
Mhm.
know, not every shortcut lead to the finish line.
Mm.
Some of them lead to a jail cell.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, man, it's just like work for what you got, man. Because like trying to take it like shortcuts, trying to jump the line, trying to not just live productively, man, it's gonna get you working for free in the child hall.
Yeah.
It's gonna get you working for free in prison, man. And I don't want to waste my life like that. I don't want nobody to go to prison and just find out that that's not a place for them to be. You shouldn't have to go there to know that's not where you're supposed to be. So I
Right.
would tell my younger self, man, no matter how many times you romanticize prison, because when I was young and in that type of headspace, I thought prison was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought prison was a place to be because my homeboys and them was there. I
Yeah.
thought that it was gonna make me like you know, a well-respected gang member. If you go to jail and get out, you get a whole new badging, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's no reward getting going to prison. There's no reward for that.
No
There's no
reward.
reward. There's no honor in that shit. It's nothing. You just need to just stay the course, man, because I was an athlete. I was a
Mm-hmm.
very good athlete. And I threw that away because I wanted the instant gratification of the attaboys, the pat on the backs, where going to practice, waiting on the game. That's a lot longer to do than just your homeboy saying, that's cool, you beat up dude.
Yeah.
Like, just wait it out, man.
Wow.
And that's what I tell myself to just wait it out.
Wait it out. Okay.
Wait it out.
Yep.
Wait it
Yes.
out.
Do you happen to have, so say like, if do you have a message that you would like to give to someone that's listening that may be in a dark space or a dark place, whether they are in prison or out of prison, or even a young youth, a young adult, or,
Yeah.
like, do you have a message for them?
Like I said, I mean, I would say, man, just education is the key.
Okay.
Um, and now I'm not just talking about, book smarts. I'm talking about all aspects of your life. I'm talking about, economics. I'm talking about your finances. I'm talking about things that's going to be productive so you can leave a generational wealth for your family. You need to be
Yes.
educated. Therefore, somebody can't come and lie to you. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? If you
Yes.
don't know, yeah, you just educate yourself, man. Because if you know what the truth is and somebody come to you with a lie, you can reject it. But if you
Yes.
don't, if you don't search for the truth, anybody to come to you with new information, you either gotta believe them or you don't.
That's right.
If you know, you know, and that's what I talked about the Bible. Because when you know His word, somebody who's against Him can't come lie to me.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I
right.
mean?
Yes, sir.
So just
That's in
arm
the book.
yourself with knowledge.
Yes. That's the book.
Yeah, knowledge is where it's at.
Absolutely. And then you apply it, just like you said, you apply
Yeah.
it.
You apply it.
Hmm.
That way they can't lie to you, man, because a lot of kids is lied to about gangs, about all this. Like, they lied to, because who want to be in prison? Even the
Nobody.
hardest gang member, I'm gonna say this
Mhm.
for at the top of my lungs. Even the hardest gang member that everybody can look up to, they can say he the realest dude, he this, that, and the third. That man still don't want to be in that cell.
Right.
That man don't want to be in that cell.
Hmm.
So why you think you want to? If he can right now take your spot, being on the couch, being miserable, being whatever you think you is right now,
Yeah.
that man will sit up there and trade his spot for yours, man. Don't
Any
get
day.
yourself, don't let them trick you out of your spot.
Don't let them trick you out of your spot. That's right. So I wanted to know, Marcellus, so like, are you working on something that you're passionate about right now?
Yeah, like my daughter, really. I'm like,
Oh, how old is she? How old is she?
she's almost 3 months now. So,
Oh, yes. Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So it's I'm starting all the way over, you know what I'm saying? So, like I
Yes.
said, I'm life, I'm happy. Because this is what it's about. Like I want to
Absolutely.
be able to leave my legacy through my children, and everything that I learned, the sacrifices that I had to go through is gonna be applied to my children. You know what I mean? So like I'm happy. Like I put all my time in my daughter. I just see a life where I gotta be a better man because I want the world for my daughter. So I gotta
Yes.
be available to do it.
Yes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, once you said daughter, like she gonna soften your heart as well. So you're gonna be soft and mighty and strong at the
Yeah,
same time, but gentle and soft. So,
yeah,
oh, that's beautiful. Congratulations.
yeah. Thank you.
Yep. And then I also wanted to know, just like, where do you see yourself in the next few years? How do you
Yeah.
hope your story will hope to continue and inspire others?
Um, you know, Getting out of prison, there's gonna be challenges, no lie. Felony convictions. Sometimes you may not get a job just like that,
Right.
but a job will come, man. And I had enough humility to pick up trash on the side of the freeway.
Hmm.
But I also had enough courage to start my own business. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So, I started my own business. I'm gonna be selling used cars, going to auctions and things like that. Got my
Yeah.
dealer's license. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be working for myself, but I'm also a union iron worker. So I got into a union, and I just applied everything that I wanted to
Yes.
go out there and get it out my job.
Hmm.
So the life I want to provide for my wife and my kids is the one that I got to go out there and get.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. Started a business, still work as an iron worker. So yeah, I think I'm building a life over here. Pretty
You
happy.
are. I don't think
Yeah.
you are.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. One step at a time.
Hmm.
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
business and everything you got going on.
Listening to you, fellas, I'm proud, bro. I'm proud, bro. We're
Thank
not,
you.
limit them conversations we've been had.
I
We're
do.
not going to discuss those conversations, but you talked about your daughter, bro.
Yeah.
That shit makes
Telling
me
you.
emotional, right? But
Telling you, man.
I'm proud of you,
It's a
man. I'm
blessing.
proud of you,
Yeah.
bro.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, bro. You great. You already know you
Absolutely,
great,
man.
bro. Thank you,
Anybody,
man, for taking
have
the
me
time
back,
and
man.
opportunity for coming on the show, man. And this is what
Yeah,
it's about. To
yeah, most
anybody that
definitely.
listens to the Cage Bird Shade, this is what it's about right here, man. This young man has saved his life. Proud of you, son.
Yeah,
Thank you, bro.
so thank you, man. You was a part of it.
Yes, sir. This
Yeah, all
inspired me
right,
so much.
Very
Okay.
important, man, for us to understand, the trials and tribulations of life.
for
As
sure.
the young man was speaking, he had a life sentence. We did a show about second chances. This young man is the prime example of somebody that had a second chance and took the second chance, and now he's living his life. Uh, Speaking to his struggle. This is why podcasts are so important because it gives you the opportunity to be able to hear something that's authentic and real.
Mhm.
Me and this man was on a yard together, struggling,
Yeah,
struggling. Not knowing if we was gonna make it home or how the day was gonna turn. Biden put in his yard. This young man had enough conviction to see his future. He didn't allow himself to succumb to what was going on. Uh, and that's a testament to who he is. Y'all hear him speak. He speaks very well. He got a baby, man.
Mhm.
One thing
yeah.
for me, and I'm glad, when my cousin presented this show to me, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to speak to real change and allow people to see we don't need to judge people and look at people and try to condemn them. Allow people to grow and give them that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You got a baby, man. I
Mhm.
remember this dude telling me, you know what I'm saying? I need to give me a baby. I need to start, you know what I'm saying? So, speaking to that, he got something to lead down and pass down, and now he's a father.
Yes.
He's a father.
And a husband.
Got a
Mm-hmm.
baby. This young man is doing it. So, not to say there's not struggles in there, because he spoke to that. It's
Oh,
not
yes.
easy.
Right.
But this is exactly why, if you're listening, you're paying attention. I know sometimes, we look for the views or, subscribers, but it's not about that. It's about this young man speaking to his testimony. This man was transparent. Look, I'm an emotional dude, right? And he been knowing me. It literally made me want to cry listening to that man when he spoke about his daughter.
I heard
Because
it.
I understand what that means. It's vital, man. But like I said, I'm proud of you, son. I think
Thank you.
Sharica, I think the Queen as well. I think her questions that she asked you
Oh, yes.
was profound because,
Very inspired.
speaking from outside point of view, she asked some good questions, and I thought you spoke well to him, brother. And like I said, just keep going, man. Keep burning that road up, brother. Thank
Yeah,
you.
most definitely. Most definitely, man. And I can't wait to see you out here, man. And just get
Oh
what
yeah,
life got,
I'll be
man.
back.
Just find your lane and stick to it. You know what I mean? Because that's where it's at.
That's where it's
Like
at.
that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
That is where it's at. And then I just
Yeah.
wanted to
Thank you,
add,
brother.
thank you again for coming on the show. I am truly inspired and touched by your story and your turnaround and your
Thank you.
choice to take your second chance and be the best version of yourself and get everything that you deserve in this
Oh,
life.
absolutely.
And so I
Yeah.
thank you again for being on the
Thank you.
show. You're welcome. You're welcome. And so, all right, y'all, we gonna end the show and we
All
see you
right.
on the next episode. I am a queen.
I'm a king.
I am a king.
I am divine.
I'm divine.
I am divine.
God is always with me.
God is always with me. Amen.
Yeah.
God is always with me,
And I am protected.
I'm protected.
and I am protected.
And we see you on the next episode.
All right,
Peace.
y'all.
All right, peace, man. Thank
All
y'all,
right.
man. All right,
Thank
now,
you.
family.